Hola, muy buenos días. Estamos a un minuto de comenzar nuestras sesiones de hoy, el cuarto día de Encuentro Creativo. Y es la segunda sesión. Vamos a estar hablando de los secretos de los productos, los secretos de los productos del Italian Luxury. Entonces, comenzamos en aproximadamente un minuto. Muy buenos días a todos los presentes, sean muy bienvenidos a esta segunda sesión del cuarto día de trabajos del Encuentro Creativo, donde estamos dando las opciones, buscando todo lo que hay para que alumnos o profesionales mexicanos que quieran continuar con sus estudios de posgrado en Italia lo puedan hacer así. Presentado, por supuesto, por la Cámara de Comercio Italiana en México, la Embajada de Italia en la Ciudad de México, el Italian Design Day, que ahorita está teniendo pues toda una serie de encuentros y eventos en varias ciudades de México. Italia, qué gusto. Y todos nuestros patrocinadores que están entre Ferrari, Aperol, Cinzano, San Pellegrino, Ferrero, Capricho, Secretos del Vino, Rietel, Grupo Berlingo, Seña, Yamamay, Alfapare, Violotti, Brothers, Fénix, etcétera. Entonces, muchísimas gracias a todos ellos por participar como sponsors en este evento. Y para dar inicio, vamos a tener unas breves palabras del embajador de Italia.
Soy Luigi De Chiara, embajador de Italia en México. Soy muy feliz de presentar Encuentro Creativo, una producción de la Cámara de Comercio Italiana en México con la Embajada de Italia. En México hay un potencial de talento creativo que me parece no logra salir de sus fronteras con la presentación de la oferta formativa de estas instituciones académicas en el campo de las industrias creativas italianas. Queremos ofrecer no solo la posibilidad de mejorarse de un punto de vista técnico, sino también de saber dónde van las tendencias, cómo se ha construido el éxito del Made in Italy, sobre todo en el sector del estilo de vida.
Es un evento muy importante, Encuentro Creativo, porque da la oportunidad a los estudiantes mexicanos egresados de universidades o de institutos académicos de conocer la oferta educativa que hay para cursos de posgrado en el campo del diseño, de la moda y de las artes gráficas.
Así que durante estas 2 semanas de Encuentro Creativo van a poder encontrar tips y conocer acerca de las mejores universidades y institutos italianos. Van a poder conocer a embajadores, a ponentes que están trabajando en la industria, que son también académicos de estas universidades. La finalidad es que disfruten de Italia, que conozcan Italia a través de estos webinars y seminarios y que se aventuren a vivir en Italia y vivir una experiencia llena de conocimiento, de sabiduría y de diseño y de moda. Espero que lo disfruten y muchísimas gracias.
Hola, muy buenos días a todos los que están participando. El día de hoy tenemos una mesa extraordinaria que es con el nombre de los secretos de los productos de lujo italianos, The Secrets of Italian Luxury. Una cosa les voy a pedir, el ponente de hoy es Niccolò Sbaragli. Entonces, antes de presentarlo, él ha pedido que quiere pues mucho la interacción con la gente. Entonces, esto lo vamos a hacer a partir de una dinámica de conversación donde básicamente les pedimos que ustedes vayan sometiendo sus preguntas a través del chat que yo le iré haciendo llegar a Niccolò Sbaragli, y con eso podamos dar pie a una conversación tan rica como es posible con un invitado de esta envergadura. Entonces, particularmente hoy estamos hablando de POLIMODA, que es una escuela que está en Florencia y que particularmente desde 1986 como un producto conjunto para poder ahondar en lo que es la educación del diseño, etcétera. Entonces, pues tienen áreas tales como Fashion Design, Fashion Business, y hoy por hoy se le considera una de las escuelas más de avanzada, más de vanguardia que existen en el mundo. Particularmente, Niccolò Sbaragli es profesor de negocios y comunicación en POLIMODA. Él, criado en Florencia. Niccolò Sbaragli es un economista especializado en estadística y ha sido gerente de producción dedicado a los accesorios de lujo en nichos de producto y estrategias de comunicación. Después de 8 años que él pasó en la ciudad de Nueva York, fundó 2 empresas, T-Showroom del Proyecto y Pluma Italia. A su regreso a Florencia, Sbaragli se integró como docente en el curso Craft Business en POLIMODA y ha trabajado como pronosticador de tendencias para el grupo LGM Kering. Niccolò se convirtió en profesor principal de negocios y comunicaciones en POLIMODA con cursos que van de pregrado a maestría con un enfoque en producción, artesanía, estadísticas. Niccolò cree profundamente en el poder del arte y la moda para abrir el diálogo para las culturas del mundo. Y sin nada más que decir, bienvenido, Niccolò. How are you? Thank you very much for having you here.
Gusto, estoy bien, mucho gusto. Gracias.
Bueno, we are in the morning, you are there in the evening, I think, in the afternoon?
Yes, right, correct. Yes,
All right. And in order to start, well, maybe you can tell us which are the limits of the product of the luxury design and how this is developing in the world, because certainly even with the quarantine, it was one of the areas where we are reestablishing the areas of branding, commerce, etc., because luxury is still going.
Yeah, totally. Yes, it's true. Luxury is still going. We didn't get any crisis, also because people keep buying luxury products. And when I'm talking about luxury product, I'm talking about specifically about fashion. Even if, you know, in Italy, luxury means also luxury cars, interior design, yacht, and but even food can be heavily considered a luxury product. So I would love to start sharing the presentation, and we will start talking about the luxury and the secret of the production system in Italy. Today I'm here because I would love to explain you how we can produce a luxury product. But before to start with the class, I want to show you a video of our students, just to give you the mood of POLIMODA students, which is an international school. I mean, actually the 70% of the students are international, just the minority are Italians. We teach in English. As Gustavo says, we are the first fashion institute in Italy and the 5th most important fashion school in the world, according to the Business of Fashion ranking. And here the video, and then we start with our class.
Connected to the world, with nature and humanity united as one.
It's all about being real. It's like a mirror. Why? Because it reflects. It's a layer we add to our identity, part of our daily lives.
I see the right choices being made while buying, the choices that will sustain our future and not destroy it.
Sustainable, unisex, digital, and inclusive.
We need to improve our ways of consumption. Future of fashion is the circular fashion.
Brand is going to look about the quality of the clothes and no more about the quantity.
What people want now, they want authenticity and coherence.
Discover something innovative for the future. Consciousness, love, uniqueness. We need to dream about fashion.
We feed off experience. Why not bring the pedals into brands?
Realizing the feeling into something touchable, giving birth to genuine, living entities, instead of following and cloning the masses, the escapism of reality.
These ethics and values will have to transcend the current trap of existing for the sake of being politically correct.
The very core of fashion, expression, and diversity, exclusivity.
Okay, here we are. Okay. Can you hear me?
Yes, certainly.
Perfect.
Yes.
Okay, let's start talking about our key points: fashion, luxury product, luxury business, Italy, Tuscany, Florence, and POLIMODA. These are keywords very important for us. They are related to each other, and now I will explain you why. This conversation starts with the provocative questions. Luxury brands means luxury products. Well, the answer is no. It's not like that. I encourage you to ask me all the questions you want, to stop me all the times, because I'm a big fan of questions, so don't be shy. I'm a professor, I have a lot of Mexican students, so I feel comfortable with your country, so don't be shy again. Luxury product doesn't mean luxury brand. We have to split this conversation on two different levels. We have many luxury brands in terms of marketing and communication, and the perception of the clients is luxury, but the reality is not like that. So it's really important for us as a clients, as a consumer, to understand the quality of the product. This is the key concept. How to understand the quality of the product, because a high-end quality is also a sustainable product. As you know,
Niccolò, excuse me,
yeah.
Ilse Holguin is asking, the first, how do you define luxury?
The first, sorry, again?
How do you define luxury? That for a start, what is luxury?
Now we go, now I will tell you exactly, because we can find many definitions of a luxury. We don't have just one definition of luxury, because it's something perceived, something related to the product, so something is abstract, something is absolutely practical, and now we'll explain you, we will give you some definition. We cannot standardize the definition of luxury, even because luxury definition is in progress, okay? Now the new luxury is the education, the new luxury is the sustainability. So we can analyze luxury under different point of view. And I will answer in a few slides to this question. Luxury brand is not necessarily a luxury product. So we have not famous brand, they are producing luxury product, and we have the opposite. Very famous fashion brands perceive it as a luxury brand, but they don't produce a high-end product. In many of these cases, products can be medium quality, okay? So we have to pay attention about this. And when we study fashion, this is fundamental. We have to understand what is it brand, what is it luxury. Here we have a definition by Coco Chanel. Luxury is not the opposite of poverty, is the opposite of vulgarity. And this is probably, for me, the best definition. The idea that luxury has to be necessarily expensive is a wrong idea. So if you want to use price as a driver, it's not enough, because you can even produce a high-end product using wood. So the high-end price is related to the raw materials. Of course, if I'm going to produce an high-end product using gold and diamonds, the natural consequence is to have a high-end price. But as I told you before, we can produce a luxury product using high-end quality. And the luxury is something related to the rarity, to the quality, to the exclusivity. Rarity, what does it mean? Well, if you can buy the same bag all over the world, in Mexico, in Italy, in United States, in London, in Milan, in Paris, it means that it's not rare. So the first point is the rarity. Probably an artisanal product is much more luxury than a famous brand. And then the quality. Quality is fundamental. Everybody are talking about quality today, and then they don't even know the difference between high-end raw materials and cheap materials. So the selection of the raw materials is fundamental. And you have to learn how to approach the raw material, the textile, fabric, specifically leather, and the same things with the metal, okay? So fundamental is to, yes, please, go ahead.
Rarity, hi, I'm Grisel from Mexico. Rarity is as a unique item, and
Yeah, sometimes, yeah, rarity is also a unique product. Unique means something, unique is something much more related to the exclusivity. What does it mean? It means that something produced just for a specific target, just for a specific person like you. When fashion brands are producing a product for the masses, it's not exclusive anymore. Exclusivity means something for a niche of people. This is another important indicator, okay? Because otherwise, many fashion brands are just interested on making money. They want to sell it as much as they can. Remember that if you want to produce big quantity, it's impossible to keep the quality high. No, guys, this is really important, okay? So the idea that luxury can be also related to the mass market is not possible. If you want to produce something really high-end, it's going to be for a niche market. No way. So rarity, quality, and exclusivity are three important drivers in order to define the luxury. But remember that luxury is also related to the tradition, like in Italy. But
we have another question from Monica Moran.
Yes,
she is
Monica.
She's asking, how do you find an equilibrium between luxury and accessibility for consumers, starting with the necessity that the product has to be sustainable, but also has to be inclusive, etc. How do you find this equilibrium between luxury and accessibility for consumer?
This is absolutely a very smart question, because this is a central point of my classes. Good question, Monica. The point is this. Today, luxury is to buy less, but long-lasting product. It's much better to spend just a little bit more, but to spend less in terms of quantity. So the balance is between demand and supply. And I will tell you at the end of the class, at the end of this presentation, we have a full dedicated slide on this point. The point is this: doesn't make sense buying 10 bags per year because you don't need it. In the opposite, fashion brands cannot produce this amount of quantity. So we have to play, clients and fashion brands, we have to have the right attitude, and we have to match in between. You understand what I'm saying? It's about to educate the consumer, and consequently, fashion brand will follow the new education. So we have to stop producing big quantity, and we have to stop asking for big quantity of products. If you buy an high-end product, it means that you can use for 10 years. That isn't a sustainable product, because if you use for 10 years the product, it means that the life cycle of the product is longer, and this way you're not going to affect the environment. Of course, it's strictly dependent on the raw materials, and then I will tell you which are the best material to produce sustainable product in 2021. Okay, so luxury has it. I hope, Monica, I answered to your question. Okay, otherwise you can keep asking. Don't be shy. Feel free to keep asking questions. Luxury has a tradition. The tradition is important. It's fundamental, especially your culture in Mexico. Your attitude, it's absolutely the same than in Italy. Okay. The tradition means that I'm going to transfer the know-how generation by generation, like here in Italy. So this is in a way to preserve the quality, to preserve the know-how. And the craftsmanship, it's the secret of the production in Italy, because when many universities in the world invite us around the world to explain the secret of the Italian luxury, the Italian production, they usually ask me, would you please tell me which machinery are using in Italy in order to produce luxury? Well, guys, look at me. These are the machinery, the hands. The 70% of the production process in Italy is still made by hands. Okay? This is fundamental. In this way, the product is not standard because it's handmade. And since we are not robots, every single products are different from each other. This is make the uniqueness. Okay, it become unique for you. So when I made also, I was a quality control for Fendi, and you have to know how to make the quality control for bags. So you have to pay attention, because some are defect, some other are characteristic of the bags, because they are handmade. I hope you're going to get the light difference between a mistake and something made by hands and it become a unique product. So craftsmanship, it's one of the secret. When you produce by hands in Europe, the biggest player in the European market in terms of production are Italy and Germany. Germany is stronger than Italy in terms of production. Germans, and I love them, are producing using machinery, probably the best in the world. They are the best in producing standard product. In terms of craftsmanship, we are much more focused on handmade. And if you think about the most famous Italian brand in the world, the most famous Italian brand in the world, it's made in Italy. It's not Ferrari, Armani, or Gucci. It's made in Italy. And what does it mean made in Italy? That you make. And what you use when you make something? You use the hands. So, you know, this is the very beginning of the tradition of the Italian products and the Italian production. So the craftsmanship is going to be another key concept of this class, this conversation, let me say. Okay. Now,
Niccolò, let me give you some of the comments. Frida says, I think you have already answered this because she made it quite a minute ago. My question is about how you can position a brand with handmade items as a luxury item, where you produce, and when you're producing in series, when you are making an edition of this product, the cost will be lower. But you have already contested this because you said about the uniqueness of the handmade.
Uniqueness.
Yes. Another person, Janelli Lula, she's asking, so would it be contradictory to communicate the product through social network because they have a sense of mass public reach?
You are partially right. Guys, I mean, these questions are very smart. Partially, you're right. I mean, then I think we have to talk about the way that fashion brands are communicating the product using social media and celebrities, because I think we have to stop, keep pushing this communication. The communication has to be as much realistic as possible, okay? Yeah. And I think that product communication has to be the center of the communication. Product communication means, where are you going to produce? In Italy? Okay, show me. And would you please tell me all the information you can about the materials they are using? The product communication is the description of the product. Okay, instead to talk about some celebrity like Rihanna, Gwyneth Paltrow, Sharon Stone, or Hailey Pink, whatever it is, okay? I think it's time to stay focused on the storytelling of the product. I prefer to know more about the secret behind the scene. If you say that you produce in Italy and you want to put the stamp made in Italy, you have to show me, and not with a fake video, because in 2021, if you produce a fake video, sooner or later, people will discover that you're not honest, that you're not saying the truth, okay? Other question? Do you have any? Yeah.
Diana Magaña, she's asking, what is the biggest challenge for luxury items in this time, given the fact that genderless fashion is uprising? So what I think she is asking about is that in the past we have luxury items for the men and we have luxury items for the women. And now that genderless is rising, well, it has to be new categories.
Yeah, yeah, it's again, good question, but are we sure that we are going that direction? That is, I think, is just a social cultural trend, because as you see, the collection are still for men and for women. I mean, I agree with the trend about gender fluidity. It's fine, but I don't understand why fashion brands are keep going with collection for men, collection for women, boutique for men, and boutique for women. Because money, that's the answer. Because if they produce just one collection, they're going to lose money. So the genderless for the moment, it's theoretical. I mean, it's true. They are producing collection genderless, but at the end, they're still selling the two collections for men and for women. It's like that, guys. It's still split in two. So honestly, probably genderless, even in this case, it's much more something to be communicated on social media than reality. Then I'm not criticizing the style of the genderless. I born in 1977, and technically I was young in the 90s. In the 90s, my idol was Tom Ford. Tom Ford was one of the examples making the sexiness the central element of the collection. For me, fashion is much more related to that values than this one, the new one. But this is an opinion, and thank God we have different opinions, and thank God the fashion system is still open to different opinions. Gender fluidity is the actual trend. It came out many, many years ago, because if you think about Coco Chanel, she was the first one producing the men jacket on the woman, no? She was the first one probably, or maybe even Elsa Schiaparelli, she produced the skirt pants. I'm talking about the 30s. So this is an evolution. The genderless, it's the evolution of the unisex. Maybe in the future, we will see an evolution also in the distribution of the collection. Maybe we will see a unisex boutique, but I'm not sure. I'm not sure about this. Okay, let me keep going, and then you will ask me for more questions. Now, another provocative question, more than question, this is a definition. People will remember of you if you give them the product right, or the right product. And what does it mean, the right product? Well, we can answer in different ways, multiple ways, in terms of aesthetics, or in terms of functionality. I'm Italian, and as you know, Italians prefer to look beautiful instead to look comfortable. Think about the made in Italy. Think about, not necessarily about fashion system, think about Ferrari, or think about Lamborghini. Did you ever drive a Lamborghini or Ferrari? If the answer is yes, you know that Ferrari and Lamborghini are not for sure comfortable cars. They are amazing in terms of performance. But if you try to drive a Lamborghini, you cannot see the back, the front. I mean, it's not functional car. It's extreme car. And even the suit, even the fashion in Italy. Think about the Italian suit, the men's suit. The best producer are in Naples. Okay, the designer in Naples are producing suit for the president of the United States, Russia, all over in the world. They are probably the most beautiful suit ever, but trust me, are not comfortable. If you talk to Germans, they prefer the functionality. They are famous for functionality. Think about Porsche. Porsche probably is not extreme like Ferrari, Lamborghini, but you can even use a Porsche to go to the supermarket. You cannot use a Lamborghini to go to the supermarket. It's impossible, basically. You understand what I'm saying? Functionality and aesthetic, sometimes they can live together, sometimes it's not possible. Depends on how you perceive the product. When you buy a product, for you, it has to be beautiful or functional. It depends. You prefer to feel comfortable or beautiful. It depends. I'm Italian. I'm totally Italian under this point of view. And I prefer a beautiful product instead of comfortable product. If I'm talking about fashion, maybe in other sector, in other categories, I prefer something more functional. If we are talking about sofa or bed, obviously. Okay. And then people will be loyal to your brand because of the quality of your product. People will dream of your brand wearing your product. So let's again keep the conversation split into brand and product. when I'm asking to my students, which is your favorite brand? And they say maybe Louis Vuitton, Gucci, Balenciaga. They are dreaming the brand wearing the jacket. So the brand represents the intangible part. The jacket represents the tangible part of the product. You understand what I'm saying? So if you produce a high-end product, the product become also a marketing strategy because people will be loyal to your brand thanks to the quality of the product. If the product is really good, I'm going to buy another one. Or maybe I'm going to influence my friend saying, oh, you know what? This product was amazing. I suggest you to buy. And then it becomes viral. So the product is also a marketing strategy. It's the best way to make potential client or clients loyal to your brand. And again, it starts with product before the brand. This is the history of the fashion system. All over the world, no, maybe not. In Italy, in France, in England, we were focused first on the product, and then we came out with the name of the brand. Gucci is from Florence, the city where I'm talking right now, okay? And he was a bags producer, leather goods producer, and he was so passionate on his job. He was spending hours producing bags, high-end quality bags. And then he said, oh my God, how can I name this bag? Okay, I can put my name. And he put Gucci as a name. So basically the 100% of the Italian and French fashion brands are using the family name as a brand. In the United States, it's not like that. They came out first with the name of Nike. And then they came out with the collection. It's not always like that, okay? It's just to make a comparison. As you can see, brand and product are playing different game on the fashion system. I'm a product manager. I'm producing bags and jacket. This is my core in the fashion system. For me, fashion starts first with product, and then the brand is the consequence of the product. If you talk to many of my colleagues, they can tell you the opposite. They will tell you, no, brand come first and the collection and the product come after. I respect different opinion. If you come to POLIMODA, you can find hundreds of professors coming all over the world. We have professors from United States, from Latin America, Middle East, China, Russia, and they approach the fashion system from different point of views. That's why we are contaminating each other, even if this word contaminating in this moment, it's a bad word, but I'm talking culturally, no? Culturally talking, the contamination in the fashion system, it's fundamental, okay? For me, fashion starts with product, the brand becomes the consequence. And the product is the tool to make people loyal to your brand forever. Gustavo, do we have other questions?
No, not yet, Niccolò. You can
okay, perfect.
Just arrived
Wait.
one. Head
Okay.
is asking how a new brand can be successful nowadays offering luxury products if only a few % of consumers can afford them.
No, it's not true. I told you, luxury is not necessarily expensive. I told you, you don't have necessarily producing an expensive in terms of cost and consequently the price, okay? You can even select high-end materials like leather, no? And producing an high-end bag, well, without pricing in a crazy way, you know what I mean? The important thing is to produce small quantity. The secret is to remaining small because luxury and big production are not sister and brother. They are the opposite. No way.
And somebody is asking about what you said before, that not necessarily comfort of, for example, in the cars. So it's asking, Jacqueline Muñiz Flores is asking, then functionality and comfy can be luxury?
Yes, can be, absolutely. I mean, I have a wonderful jacket. I'm not telling you the name of the brand. Is one of the brand that I'm working for. Is a classical jacket. It's really comfortable because it's made with real leather, the real leather recycled from food industry. So the answer can be yes, not always, but can be yes, for sure.
Starting with what we're seeing in the screen, it starts with the product before the brand. Daniela Covarrubias is telling, if you start from the point where what is first, the brand or the product, and if the first is the product, then how do you know who are you gonna sell to? How do you know which is your target?
Well, no one of the creative people are thinking about the target. This is done by the business side of the fashion system. Creative people, they are getting the inspiration from everything. Everything can inspire a creative person, okay? And then they came out with an idea. The idea become a sketch. The sketch become a product. Then the marketing, it's focused on intercepting the right target, making the right communication, studying the consumer behavior. So I think, well, even in this case, you can approach the fashion system from different point of view. My suggestion is this. You have to make what you like. If you are a creative person and you want to produce a collection, express yourself, put your touch in the collection. Then the business side of the fashion system will help you to intercept the right target. Of course, we have to build the content communication. You have to communicate the soul of your collection, and you will see that the clients will come to you. I will never start thinking about the target. I'm thinking about the trend forecast, first of all. I'm analyzing the social cultural trend in the world. This works as a stimulus for me. And then I start to produce a collection. This is my experience. As a product manager, I was consulting many designers. My job started when the designer finished the sketch and they start to produce his idea. Of course, I'm gonna offer some suggestion because my experience, maybe I'm gonna say to the designer, hey, look, much better to use this leather instead than this one, because otherwise the bags react differently on the stitching or maybe close to the zip, right? These are technical aspects. But my idea is to start from the creative part, not with the target. Even if today many fashion brands, important and big fashion brands, of course, they have to keep in mind the customer needs and the customer wants.
Niccolò, we have a question from Abraham, and I think it's absolutely charming question. When is the right moment in life to start buying luxury products?
When you're going to absorb the philosophy of luxury. If luxury is just something to show off, for example, you see many rappers, they are using a gold cruise with diamonds. That is not luxury, even if they are expensive. That is vulgarity. Okay, so luxury is a philosophy. Under the demand point of view, under the production point of view, luxury is something has to be inside of you. You are going to select naturally the product using your hands, touching the product, watching. Okay, as soon as you assume this as a characteristic, you will be ready, but there is not an age. It's something that it will come naturally to you. If you think that luxury is just to watch at fashion brands, the most famous fashion brand, that is the wrong way to approach luxury. I prefer you to go in Mexico looking for some artisans producing unique product with passion, with the high-end materials. That is luxury. Much more than another one, even more famous because the brand, because the communication, because the marketing. You understand what I'm saying? Okay, now let me try to summarize the entire process of producing a collection. And now I'm going to answer to the question before, no? Technically talking, in a big fashion brands, of course, you have to keep in mind the target, right? It's true. The creativity represents the very beginning, the starting point. So the designer is getting an inspiration, as I told you. The inspiration becomes an idea, the idea becomes a sketch. But before to transfer and to transform the creativity, which is an intangible input, to transform in an output, which is tangible, the product, we have to keep in mind some characteristic. And the characteristic is this one. I'm going to launch a collection in the market. What I have to keep in mind? Yes, the ID client. I'm going to produce these bags for who? For a woman. Okay. What kind of women? Young, 20 years old, or 40 years old, or 50 years old. This has to be clear. And then the occasion of use of the product. Where I'm going to use this product? During the day, every day, just in the weekend, just 10 times per year, because of course the occasion of use and the ID client are going to influence the technology involved. Let me provide you with an example. If I have to produce an everyday bags, it means that the bags has to be durable because it's going to be used every day. So for me, my suggestion is to use calf leather. If I want to produce a bag just for the weekend or just for some special occasion like a clutch, maybe I'm going to suggest to the designer to use python leather, which is recycled from food industry anyway. It's much more fragile, so we have to pay attention. Or maybe lamb leather, recycled from food industry. So the creative people, sometimes they can express themselves in name of creativity. Sometimes they have to follow the rules in the market. So the answer that you asked me before about, no, oh, well, but do I have to produce a collection with the customer needs in mind? Well, sometimes it's yes, sometimes it's not. If you work for the consolidated fashion brands, for sure, because the marketing is going to dictate the rules in the market. And you have to follow that rules. The merchandiser, for example, which is the rule of the merchandiser? The merchandiser is one of the bodyguard of the designer. It's an observator of the market. No? The merchandiser is going to say to the designer, hey, look, dear designer, I know that you are the creative person in charge for the collection, but please remember to include the backpack in the collection, because the backpack in this moment is one of the most sellable product in the market. So as you can see here, in this case, designer cannot produce collection just in name of creativity. They cannot express themselves as they want, but they have to follow the rules. But this is not necessarily luxury. Because, why? Because you follow the rules in the market. This is typically done by big fashion brands. I don't want to say big luxury fashion brands, because for me, it's basically impossible to be luxury and big at the same time. So occasion of use, ID client, and technology involved are three other key concepts, important key concepts. And now, here I'm talking about something related to the Italian production system, really, really important. Probably you don't know, probably yes, but no one of the fashion brands are producing in-house. The production is in outsourcing. What does it mean? That private factories are signing contract with Gucci, Hermes, Saint Laurent, Givenchy, and they produce for them, but they are private companies. Just in some cases, big fashion brands are buying strategic factories to produce their collection. In the majority of the case, is outsourced. In order to produce a big quantity and a large quantities of product, fashion brands needs to have a lot of factories, needs to have multiple contracts with every single factories. Think about Louis Vuitton. Louis Vuitton is producing 12 millions of leather goods. I'm just talking about leather goods. Gucci is producing around 9 millions of leather goods. Have you idea how many factories are producing for these brands? Hundreds of factories. And they are different. And this is very hard because you have to coordinate 100 different factories and they have to produce the same product. So you see, in this case, it's very hard to keep the luxury concept high because you are going to standardize the production in many factories. You understand what I'm saying? Which is opposite from the very beginning of this class when I was telling you craftsmanship, handmade, the characteristic of the handmade in Italy, the 70% of the production is made by hand. When you want to produce big quantity, you need to standardize the production. You're going to lose the exclusivity, the rights.
Robert Adams is asking, doesn't this mass production in factories breaks the concept of luxury in brands like Louis Vuitton and Gucci?
Sorry, Gustavo, I lost you. Sorry.
It's asking Alejandro Mendez. He says, doesn't this mass production in factories breaks the concept of luxury in brands like Louis Vuitton and Gucci?
And this is exactly what I told you right now. Exactly. This is exactly. They are producing good quality in a way. I mean, but it's not luxury. I mean, luxury for me, as I told you, is another thing. Yeah.
All right.
Yes.
And Montse Soto is saying, there are luxury brands selling simple and even silly stuff like paper clips with ridiculously high prices. Assuming the reason is the brand's name and position, what gives a product the luxury label, the luxury between semicolons, the quality and know-how of the name, positions of the brand name? What is making this luxury staple in this thing like paper clips with ridiculously high prices?
I know the ridiculous high prices is because fashion brands has to pay the unproductive stuff. Think about the marketing team, think about the communication team, think about the store. They have to pay every one of them. And the only chance they have is to increase the price. I mean, the marginality of the price. It's not when sometimes this is very important, guys, because even my mom, she still asks me, but I don't understand why this bag, it costs 3,000 euro when the production costs 150 euro. But guys, it's because the fashion brands has to pay not just the raw materials and the labor cost, they have to pay even the salary of the entire team part of the fashion system. That's why the marginality, it's crazy high. And sometimes the quality is not even at the same level of the price. So I agree with you.
All right. And Giselle Diaz, she's asking, would it be possible to be experimental and offer luxury at the same time?
Can be possible
to be experimental and offer luxury at the same time.
Another luxury at the same time. I don't understand.
No, and offer luxury to be an experimental brand and offer luxury at the same time.
Yes, yes. Think about the artisan. They are not famous, but they are producing high-end products. If you come here in Florence and you go in the center of the city, you can find really high-end quality jacket and bags produced by artisans with no label. But trust me, the quality is excellent. It's durable.
And also we have from Robert Adams, he's asking, from the point of view of if we think luxury, fashion is tradition, how can include minorities and people that is associated with the marginal or lower, they don't have so much amount of money or so much amount of satisfactories, etc. If fashion is tradition, how can we include? It's possible to have a new reconceptualization of the concept of luxury?
Yeah, I totally agree with this. We can reconcile the luxury. As I told you before, price is not necessarily the good indicator. So again, price, luxury is not necessarily expensive, first of all. And then there is an accessible luxury. Maybe it's rare. It's not easy to be found in the market, but you can buy it. You can buy it for much less than maybe a famous top fashion brands where the quality is medium. You understand what I'm saying? What I'm saying?
Certainly. Yes.
Okay.
All right. There's no more questions. Go on.
Good. Good. More questions? No. Okay. Let me go.
Yeah.
Okay. Another secret. Quality starts from the suppliers. If you don't know, guys, if you don't know where to go to produce, it's a problem. Because it's impossible to have an high-end quality product without a high-end quality supplier. And then remember that luxury can be produced just in small factories. The size of the factories is another secret of the Italian luxury. If you want to produce luxury in a factory with 1,000 employees, it's impossible. Too much employees touching the product is going to affect the quality of the product. So luxury can be produced just in a small factory with from 15 to 50 employees. This is another characteristic of the Italian factories. For us, in Italy, 50 employees, it means a very big factory. For the Italian standard, it's very big factory. For Chinese, for Americans, it's nothing. I know. The secret of luxury starts in the factories. Few employees, but really high-end in terms of know-how. In Italy, the employees that are working for luxury factories are getting a good salary. It's not even easy to find them in the market. They become very rare. I'm trying to convince my students to go to work in a factory because that is the very beginning of the fashion system. And the new generation won't spend time in a factory, touching the leather, touching the fabric. They want to go in New York, and I did it for many years. They want to become businessman or just designer. And all the job profile in between, nothing. This is not acceptable. You are the new generation. Think about it. Think about to become a product manager. Think about to become a modelist. If you become a modelist today, you can find a job in 5 seconds in Italy, in France, in Tokyo, in Germany, in United States, because no one want to spend time in the factory. And it's an amazing, there is a dignity working in the factory. I love it. I know, I've been there hundreds of times coordinating the production. In my next life, I will do it. It's true. I understood this now at 44 years old.
All right. Now we have a lot of inquiries. Diana Magaña says, how does an exclusive item differentiate from a luxury item, or is it similar in some way, exclusive and luxury?
Yeah, because they follow the trend. So they do that in order to make the product much more sellable. That's why they do this. But, well, it's also true. We have different kind of trends. The one coming from the fashion brands, they are consolidated trends, so they copy each other. And the one coming from the bottom, from the people, the street style trends, you know? It depends. It depends which kind of brand you want to found. It depends. It's up to you.
All right. And Godandi is asking, what about Balenciaga? Is Debna redefining luxury, or is the market that is looking for something different, going from streetwear to haute couture?
If Cristobal Balenciaga was still alive, I think in this moment would be so mad at Balenciaga because he died in 1973, if I'm not wrong, and he stopped his career, I think 5 or 6 years before to die. I think there is just one public interview about Cristobal. He didn't care about the fashion show, about television interview. He was a real genius. He spent his life working in his atelier in Paris. He was very focused on quality. He didn't expect, of course, that Balenciaga became a sneaker brand like now. I mean, the creative director of Balenciaga did a great job, but I mean, they are not consistent to the tradition of Balenciaga. I think I'm not offending Balenciaga in this moment. They're producing here. I mean, the factories, the Tuscany, where POLIMODA is located and where I am in this moment, it's the hub of the production luxury in the world. Balenciaga, born in Spain, is a Spanish man, but he moved in Paris, okay? Balenciaga, it's a French brand, part of the Kering group, the group that I worked for, okay? The legal headquarters is in Paris. The production headquarters is here in Florence. Like Givenchy, the legal headquarters is in Paris. The production headquarters is here in Florence. Same things of Celine is here in Florence, the production. Burberry, Alexander McQueen. So I think there is no consistency with the values of the brand. They are doing a market strategy. They are doing that very well in terms of marketing communication. They retargeted the brand for the new generation. I'm not going to wear the Balenciaga shoes because I'm not in Target, obviously, guys. Gustavo, what do you think? Are you going to wear Balenciaga shoes?
Yes, I have it. I enjoy it a lot.
Wonderful. Wonderful. You see, fashion is like this. You can really do whatever you want. Okay.
Yeah, I have several questions, but I'm going to try to resume in just one because I think they are sort of in the same vein. So somebody is asking how we can get a job of one of these high-end luxury brands. And also another person is asking, how can we compete with these luxury brands like Louis Vuitton, Gucci, Salvatore Ferragamo, etc. And also there is a person asking, Andres Escobedo is saying, the artisans, particularly the Mexicans, should be thinking about producing luxury items in order to survive and can compete with the very big brands. So in many ways, the three are asking the same. How can it be a part? How can I compete? How can our artisans can be in competition? How do you make your own brand? Or how can you be part of one of these luxury brands of the world?
Okay. Ferragamo is my boss. It's the president of POLIMODA. I know him very well, and I understand the philosophy of Ferragamo. But my question is this. Can I answer with another question? Why you want to compete with Louis Vuitton?
Mm-hmm.
Why? Why you want to compete with Ferragamo, with Gucci? I don't understand the sense. We are in a globalized world. Do your game. You don't have to necessarily compete with Louis Vuitton. And how can you enter in a fashion brand like that? Well, it's no big deal. I mean, you can study fashion system. For example, if you come to our school, you're going to have the internship at the end of the courses. Every one of our students are going to have the internship at the end of the students. And then if you're good, you can be consolidated in the fashion brands. Of course, Europe is just a little bit different than United States, Russia, or Latin America because there is a concentration of luxury brands, production and headquarters. So probably you have just a little bit more chance here in Europe at the very beginning. But after an experience in Europe, you can easily come back to your beautiful country and you can help your country to increase in luxury. Then artisans, of course, the Mexican artisans have the chance to make their own brand. Today, more than ever, because they can use their own communication, they can optimize their social media communication, saying the truth, showing, you don't have to come out again with some celebrity to push your brand. Just use the truth, just use video, focus on your product, your production. The new storytelling is the reality.
Mhm. Yes,
Did I answer or not, Gustavo? Because sometimes there
I
are
think you
several
answered
questions.
perfectly well. No, I think you answered quite well. And also, let me tell you, there has been a lot of people saying thank you very much, that it was absolutely illuminating. In my
I
part,
hope.
I have to tell you that I'm 51 years old, and today you have asked me questions that I have pretty much for all my life, and now I've been answered. So thank you very much, because this gives me perspective for many things that I'm thinking right now. I think it was a very fruitful conversation. Everybody hearing this talking has to think, if you go to POLIMODA, you can be in touch with the actual protagonists of luxury brands in the world. So it's absolutely important for an industry like the Mexican one. If you have a study here, if you are working here in the brand, you can go there and take an experience from the fountain of where they are thinking, they are developing, they are realizing how luxury brands are doing in the world. And certainly this will be a nutrition, this will bring new blood to Mexican fashion brands when you came back here. Or if you can find your way in the world, you can work, like they are asking, how can I be part of these luxury brands? Well, you can start by POLIMODA and then see what are your options. And then it's a certain step going into there. So thank you very much for your attention. It was perfect. And I think, Niccolò, we will have a little words about our sponsors. And with that, pretty much our time is done. So thank you very much for being here. Y
Thank you.
Thank you, Niccolò. Thank you. Y gracias
Muchas
a toda
gracias.
la gente que nos está oyendo. Nuestros patrocinadores.
Muchísimas gracias, Niccolò. La verdad que nos llevamos muchos términos asociados a lujo.
Muy bien, muy bien.
Aprendimos
Estoy
mucho.
feliz.
Exactamente, es una filosofía, no solamente es tener...
Es una filosofía, exactamente. Es el modo de apreciar la producción.
Niccolò, if you can take out your screen in order that we can share the panel of the sponsors.
Yeah, sorry, you're totally right.
Thank you.
Perfect.
Arriba, you have the con.
No, muchísimas gracias nuevamente, chicos, muchas gracias por estar aquí conectados. Nos llevamos cada vez más experiencia y temas de interés. Nada, agradecer a nuestros patrocinadores que hacen posible este evento, a la Embajada de Italia, evidentemente nuestro embajador Luigi de Chiara, que hace posible esta actividad, así como también marcas que ya las podemos ver aquí abajo. Si quieren las digo rapidísimo, ya las dijiste tú también, Gustavo. Fénix, Zegna, Yamamá, Scavolini, Ferrero, Amoretti Brothers, Vialetti, Campari, Ferrari, San Pellegrino, Capriccio, Secretos del Vino, Riedel, Grupo Berlingo. Muchísimas gracias. Por favor, sigan visitando el sitio web Encuentro Creativo, porque hay becas, hay descuentos, hay promociones, y no solamente durante estas 2 semanas, sino por favor búsquennos, porque podemos apoyarlos, asesorarlos, no solamente de la parte legal, pero sino también ser un lazo con las distintas universidades italianas que nos acompañan en Encuentro Creativo. Entonces, muchísimas gracias y a la próxima, Niccolò. Muchas gracias.
Nos vemos. Chao.
Gracias, Niccolò. Gracias, Fariba. Y a todos los que nos están oyendo, arrivederci.
Arrivederci.
La próxima. Chao, chao.
Chao, chao.